here. First topic, which I absolutely loved, TJ, this Sherrone Moore interview on On3, where Sherrone Moore was talking about his first year, kind of what he's learned as the head coach this year. And he talked about really how this first year, wasn't kind of at that standard especially for most of the season, right? Because when you're at Michigan, there's a standard of winning championships, right? Beating your rivals, did that, right? But winning championships as the main goal. When you heard this, I mean, this just kind of sounds like Sherrone Moore understands that Michigan is no longer what Colin Cowherd said it was years ago. Remember, Colin Cowherd, Joel Klatt talked about this. Michigan had always been a 9-win team, a 10-win team. Occasionally they get to a Rose Bowl. Remember that bullshit from 3-4 years ago? No. Sherrone Moore comes out and says there's a standard of winning national Big Ten championships, and that's what he is going to be shooting for, and what he's going to try for from recruiting and elsewhere. Adapt or die is kind of what he said when it came to the new era of college football. The NIL era is here. And so when you heard him say that, I mean, what did you think? Because that made me feel good. It made me feel like, we're aligned as he's listening to the fan base. Yeah. He knows kind of how we're all feeling here.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think Sherrone Moore, he's done a few interviews recently, and, to give the quote from the article, from the interview, when you're at Michigan, there's a standard of winning championships. Right now, it's compete, beat your rivals, get to the Big Ten championship, win it, and get to the playoffs. That's going to be our goal every single year. And that was music to my ears because that is my standard as a Michigan fan. We talk about that on our channel, John, where making the playoffs is the expectation. To not make the playoffs is not acceptable. We do understand year one, it's a building year, it's a growing year, foundation has been laid. Year two, yeah, we want playoffs, and there's no reason we shouldn't get there. We look at the schedule, we feel pretty good about it. And then to some of the other things discussed in that article and the standard that Sherrone Moore is saying is at Michigan, you're right, John, adapt or die. John, since me and you have been doing the show, that is something we have said since maybe episode 1. Me and you have been on top of, we have got to adapt or die. There was pushback within the fan base. We won't get into that.
But embracing mediocrity.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, they sure do like the top 100 recruits. It's amazing. I've seen some viewpoints change in the last year. Their tone has changed. It's interesting to watch. But anyways, Dusty May has that same exact say where he says we got to adapt or die, right? And then he also talks about it's not all about money, but it's nice to have the support that they do outside of the program from the donors. He talks about that as well. And then the other thing that was not in this article, but it is without question the standard at Michigan. Michigan is not afraid of anybody, anything, because we're not canceling our spring game, John. We're not afraid of freaking teams. Oh, we're going to poach your player. Bullshit excuses from lazy coaches who don't want a spring game because they don't want the risk of exposing players. Well, we all know the agents are shopping the players. You're full of shit, coaches, whatever. Sherrone Moore is not running. I think even a Buckeye can respect that Sherrone Moore is not afraid to do a spring game. There's a standard at Michigan, and it's simply that we do not fear shit. We're going to give it our all, and we're playing to win. That's the standard, bro. We're playing to win.
Yeah, how about going and getting Bear McWhorter who was a perpetual Alabama crystal ball, literally named after Bear Bryant. TJ,
Lifelong
you did a video
Alabama
on him 4 days ago when this news dropped, and I think we were a bit skeptical at first because all the tea leaves had been saying Alabama for a long time, but then I started seeing these rumblings about Michigan kind of starting to push for it, and I was like, whoa, this looks real. This looks like some real smoke. And then it happened very soon after.
When I learned, so we knew in early January it was an Alabama-Michigan battle. When I learned Bear was named after Bear Bryant, when I learned he was a lifelong Alabama fan, when I learned he doesn't live far from Alabama's campus, when I learned his family were lifelong Alabama fans, I was like, okay, I'm not even going to bring this to our audience. I'm going to be very honest with you guys. I've been aware of this recruitment for a minute. And as you know, we talked about it one time, I think, in the last 2 months.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess that's on me. But the reality is within the last week, Michigan was able to make that move, steal Bear Bryant. And that's what we're talking about. To John's point, the point is Michigan's playing to win, adapt or die. We got the gun now. Someone call an ambulance for you.
We have a gun.
Yeah.
And we're not afraid to use it.
Michigan's taking the players now. Okay. Michigan's going after their top guys. When we get into the recruiting update, John, there's a crazy stat that I'm going to hit on for everybody that's very interesting regarding the caliber of player that Michigan's currently pursuing. But yeah, I mean, it's just Michigan. Sherrone is instilling a culture of championships or else. Like, it's literally a winning mentality. And I was actually, John, I was thinking about this earlier. Is there anything this football team is not doing that you wish they would? There's one thing that I can think of, but they're in process of doing that. Is there anything, and we'll put this out to the chat. Is there anything the football team, the football program is not doing that you wish they would? There's only one thing that can come to my mind, and they are pursuing that.
I've got one.
Okay, what's the one?
I wanted a change at wide receiver coach.
Okay. I guess that's one.
But hey, the jury's, listen, I'm willing to be proven wrong. And Chip Lindsey might be able to turn that around. What was kind of the one you were thinking? Burks has one. Okay.
Recruiting elite wide receivers is the one for me.
Okay, so in the same
That's
ballpark.
The one thing I feel like.
Yeah.
I feel like Michigan's lacking, but guess what? Michigan they're making those moves, bro. They are contacting elite wide receivers. They are in on the number one wide receiver in the nation, Tristan Keys. I see our boy Steve from X is saying any Chris Henry updates. Well, they're talking to Chris Henry. Now, however that goes, we'll see, but they are Steve, guess what? Let me let you in on a secret. He's listening to a bunch of teams. Now, is it a negotiation ploy to raise the price at Ohio State? We'll find out. I don't know. Will he remain at Ohio State? Maybe. Point being is Michigan is making an effort to land elite wide receivers, and I think they will when they see the play on the field, they see the offense, they see Bryce Underwood. That's a belief I have. So, I think Michigan. I look at the program; it's killing it, and it's doing very well in recruiting. I want to be a top 5 recruiting program. Check. I want to pay players. Check. I want to be able to have elite official visits and unofficial visits. Check. I want to have a good coaching staff. Okay, we can argue there's a wide receiver upgrade to be had. Maybe he's going to get a year. He's going to, guess what? He has a year to prove John wrong. Okay. So they're doing everything. They've expanded the recruiting department. They have an athletic director who's supporting them. They have regents. They have donors. They have apps. They have everything. The program literally we have new locker rooms. They've improved the screens at the big house. I mean, the lights at the big house, like
recruiting events by getting Aaron Dunston from Ohio State.
There's nothing that Michigan, if I look at my list of wishes for Michigan football, they're doing it all. I just need an elite wide receiver now. Get me an elite wide receiver, and I have everything. And then we got to win another natty, but can't do that in February. You could put the work in, but you're not winning one in February. You put the work in February to get to one, but at the end of the day, Michigan's doing what they need to be doing, and I'm very excited about the direction of the program, man.
Yeah,
basketball too, by the way. Basketball too. Yeah.
Well, and forgive me because there was one coach we missed, and that was on me last week. Justin Truss, which I think he is at the end of last season. We saw the beginnings of his effort because it's hard to evaluate a new strength and conditioning coach because of that length of time. That he's finding himself, right. But what you saw is that the team got stronger as the year went on, and even as some of the starters were dropping out because of injury, and then in the Bama game because they were. Obviously, they had earned the right to rest and get ready for their second round draft pick. But Justin Truss, I think, is one of the unsung heroes of how that season ended. Right? You don't beat Ohio State, who won the Natty. You don't beat Alabama's number ones
right.
by being weak. you beat with good strength and conditioning. That was a key factor, I think, in that successful final stretch there.
It's a fair point. I mean, we outlasted the opponents. We drug them out to deep waters, and we treaded water longer than they did. The pro again. I mean, I'm interested to see another year, another off season with Justin Truss as our strength and conditioning coach to kind of see. But like, if you look at the numbers in terms of the growth in terms of body weight, whether it's body weight gained or healthy weight lost, and healthy weight gained, the numbers were very similar to a Ben Herbert, right? So now we know Ben Herbert's a special individual. You know, you're not arguably the best strength and conditioning coach in the world for football. Not even arguably the highest paid strength and conditioning coach in the world for football. I mean, he just is. Okay. Justin Truss has done a good job. Now let's see another year of this. Let's make sure the culture, and I believe it will be. I think Sherrone Moore's, but let's just, let's get another data point. Let's get another year of a data point. I will be honest, for me, Justin Truss, I'm not anti-Justin Truss. I'm still in the unsure category for myself.
That's fair. It's early and it takes time to evaluate him specifically when you had Ben Herbert kind of one of the key factors in the previous culture, and his influence, even though he wasn't there anymore, was still felt this past year, and I'm sure that they were still utilizing a lot of his practices. So yeah, Tress will, I think, start to find himself and like how he coaches more as we get into the second year as well. So I think you're right there.